For most of the past decade, California Democrats have had supermajority control of our state government, allowing them to do a lot of bad things. But in 2026, there's actually a path for Republicans in California to break the supermajority and become relevant again in Sacramento. We have a list of the seats that could flip in the 2026 election if Republicans got their act together. You may actually live in one of the seats. Coming up, I'll share the list with you and tell you how you can join the fight. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative representing District 75 in the state assembly. I'm on a mission. I want to end the Democrat Party control, supermajority control of our state government. Let me tell you what supermajority control is. It is the definition of when one party controls more than 2/3 of the seats in both the assembly and the state senate. When you have more than 2/3 of the seats, it means that you're able basically to shut the minority party out of the process entirely. Many things require a 2/3 vote. And so if something requires a 2/3 vote and one political party says, no, we're not going to play ball, it gives them leverage on not only that issue, but a lot of other issues as well. Getting rid of the 2/3 vote currently controlled by the Democrats in both chambers, both the state Senate and the state assembly, is crucial because tax increases require a 2/3 vote. Amendments to the state constitution require a 2/3 vote. So if Republicans are able to break the Democrat supermajority control of the legislature, it is a big deal. Now, where are we starting out from? What do the Democrats currently control? Right now, in the state assembly, Democrats have 60 seats. Republicans have only 20. Now, that's an improvement because we just picked up 2 seats in the last election. So we're starting to make progress and climbing out of the superminority hole that Republicans put themselves in. But in order to break the supermajority of the Democrats in the state assembly, because all you have to do is break it in one of the chambers. If you have one of the chambers where they don't have 2/3 votes, then the Republicans have leverage again in Sacramento. In order to break supermajority control, we need to add 7 seats to the Republican column for a total of 27. 27 out of 80 is more than 1/3 of that chamber. In the state Senate, Republicans have 10 seats out of 40. They would have to gain an additional 4 seats to break the supermajority there. So that's our path in terms of that's our goal, is to get to 14 seats in the state Senate or 27 seats in the state assembly. So are there 4 seats in the state Senate that we can win? Yeah. But those seats are staggered because they're 4-year terms. And so half the seats are up every 2 years. There are more than 7 seats that we can win and gain in the state assembly to break the supermajority control in 2026. And so at Reform California, we've been studying all of these districts, crunching the numbers, and we've identified a list of winnable seats for Republicans in 2026 that most assuredly would end the supermajority control in one or both of the chambers. Now, we have a plan to end the supermajority, and I'm going to talk about that plan in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the seats and what we did to select the seats and why it's absolutely mathematically possible to win these seats. And then what's so frustrating about this is that Republicans in California did not have this plan. We had to do it for them. We had to actually crunch the numbers, identify seats, and say, here are the bogeys, here are the target seats. And now what we need to do is get candidates and mount campaigns and fights in each of these areas to win. But I want to walk you through how we came up with the list, because to me, I see a world of opportunity. I see a lot of seats that Democrats currently hold in California that should be in Republican hands. The reason why they're not in Republican hands, number one, the party never targeted them. Number two, the party doesn't actually have a plan to compete to win them. So more on that in just a moment. And of course, if you want to join this fight, I'm encouraging you to do so because we can't do this on our own. Go to the website reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Sign up at the bottom so that we can keep you up to date on all the campaigns across the state of California in each of these target seats. And yes, please chip in a contribution to the fight. We get no money from the lobbyists or the special interests because we're reformers. We're grassroots activists. We're Republican, actually, conservatives. And of course, the big donors do not like that. They like liberal, they like government-oriented philosophy. We are reformers trying to break that supermajority and reform a broken system in California that doesn't serve the average Joe. And so we need the support of average Joes and Janes like you. So go on that website and drop a contribution into the fight so that we can continue to wage this battle. So first, let me talk about the districts. And we did this 2 years ago. We've been doing this actually for several years, publishing a list of districts that we think are winnable. And in the last election, we selected a bunch of districts that Republican political operatives said, oh, those aren't winnable. You're crazy. Guess what? We won 2 of the seats that they thought we could not win. District 36 and District 58. More on those in just a moment. So here's the map. We have congressional seats in California. We've got state Senate seats, and then we've got state assembly seats. Those are the legislative seats that we're targeting. And this is a website that provides information on these seats, shows you the boundaries, and you can go to redistrictinginsights.com/maps to look up where you are in your area, or go to your local registrar of voters website and type in your address. Most of them will tell you what district you live in. But you take a look at these seats, and obviously some are safe Republicans, only a few. Others are, light red or light blue or dark blue. But this does not really give you a good sense of what the target seats are, because this is status quo. This is basically what happens when Republicans don't do anything, and Democrats, of course, run really good campaigns with really good candidates. You basically get a state that's lopsided. But in the 2024 election, and even in the 2022 election, we started seeing shifts, big shifts. Trump, for example, flipped 5 counties in the 2024 election. What it shows is that voters are hungry. They are wanting change. And of course, as I just mentioned, we picked up 2 assembly seats, which was our best performance in a presidential year since 1984. In the 2024 election, we won 2 seats in the state assembly and started clawing our way out of that superminority status. So here are the 3 criteria we use in selecting target seats, and then I'm going to go through a list of them. First, are we within 8 points, 5 points, maybe even 10 points, so 40% or higher of the vote naturally in the last 2 elections? Number 1 is, what is the percentage of votes in a district for the Republicans? Number 2, what is the Latino population in the district? And the reason why we look at what is the percentage of Latinos in the district is because Latinos, while they're still registered as Democrats, they are not happy Democrats. They are wanting change. They are voting for Trump. They are voting for Republicans. And finally, step 3 is the district nestled within other competitive districts? And here's why that's important in identifying target seats. If we're going to invest in a district, to talk to a door, knock on a door and get a voter to vote for a Republican, maybe for Congress or maybe for state Senate or state assembly, it's not very efficient to say, okay, we're going to focus on a district just for that assembly seat. Because when you talk to the voter, they have more than one race on their ballot. So if you convince them to vote for a Republican in the assembly race, chances are they're going to vote Republican in the state Senate race as well as the congressional race. So in coming up with our list of target seats, we look for, number 1, seats where we're within 5, 8, or 10 points of winning it naturally. That if you actually ran a good campaign in seats that you're within 5, 8, or 10 points of, and actually got your crap together and actually fielded a good candidate, trained the candidate, endorsed the candidate, supported the candidate, actually put money into the race, those seats that are 5, 8, 10 points within the margin, we could actually flip. Number 2, lots of Latinos in a district means lots of voters that are willing to cross over. And number 3, is it co-located in another competitive seat so that we can get synergy and turn out votes for more than one seat. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. So let me give you a case study. The 36th Assembly seat that we just flipped. Here is the 2022 election, District 36. Now, District 36, I'm going to share with you what it looks like, is out here in Imperial Valley, a piece of San Bernardino County, and a big portion of Riverside. So basically the southern portion of the Palm Springs area, Coachella Valley. That's District 36. It's pretty darn big. Take a look at that. It goes all the way up to Needles. And the border with Nevada has the border with Arizona, the Mexican border, all the way into Riverside. Big district. Now, we look at that district. In 2022, Ian Weeks was the Republican, and he got 46.6% of the vote. And he didn't do anything in terms of a campaign. He's a nice guy, but really didn't run an aggressive campaign. He tried his best, but he got no support from the party. So naturally, in 2022, 46% of the vote in this seemingly safe Democrat district. Well, in 2024, our candidate, Jeff Gonzalez, got 51.8% of the vote in a presidential year where turnout is massively higher. Now look at the number of votes that he gets, 79,477 votes versus 73,926. That is more than 5,000 votes difference. So that's a pretty healthy margin. Compared what he did, Ian Weeks only got 44,000 votes. The Democrat got 50,000 votes in that election. Now, the vote totals are important because 2026 is going to be a turnout election. More on that in just a minute. But anything that's within that 8-point, 10-point, 5-point difference in a district could do what we saw here in the 36th district. I want to give you another example. I want to look at the 67th district, which is in Orange County. In 2022, I'm actually going to start out first with 2024. In 2024, we lost the seat, but Beth Culver got 71,161 votes in this district. Now, she lost that seat to the Democrat, 56.8% to 43.2%, but there's still 71,161 votes in the presidential election that voted for the Republican in that district. Well, back it up to 2022. In the 67th district, that same Democrat won that seat, but she only got 58,000 votes, and that's 53% of the vote, against a better candidate, Sue Yu. Well, wait a minute. If you take a look at the 71,161 Republican votes in 2024 that were not enough to win the 67th district, and compare that to the 58,781 votes in the midterm 2022 that the Democrats won the district by, 6 points here, 7 points. If we get even 60,000 of those votes in 2026 that turned out in 2024 of the 71,000, we win this seat. So when we look at vote totals, it's not just the percentage, but it's the raw vote totals that we're looking at. More on that in a minute. Second thing that we look at is the Latino percentage. So take a look at that 36th district again. Only 27% of the district is Republican voters. 43% is Democrat voters. Now you might say, well, that's 16-point difference, more than 16 points. That's an unwinnable seat. That's what the professional Republican political consultants would say. Oh, it's an unwinnable seat. Hogwash. We just won it. What I look at is this number right here. What percentage of the district is Latino? Again, remember, I told you the Latinos may still be registered as Democrats, but they're quickly moving to Republicans. So any seat that's 50% or higher, or even 40% or higher Latino, is a winnable seat, is a competitive seat for Republicans. We may not win it this cycle, but working that district cycle after cycle will move it into our column over a period of time. And that's what Reform California is doing with this target seat analysis. Finally, we look at, is the district nestled within another district? So remember the state assembly seat? Let me give you that picture. See how it goes all the way up with this big arm up to San Bernardino, goes all the way into Riverside, and it contains all of Imperial County. Well, take a look at the congressional seat. That congressional seat looks a whole lot like the assembly seat. Comes into Riverside, goes all the way up to San Bernardino, and contains all of Imperial County. So we just won the assembly seat that's nestled within this congressional seat, but a Democrat still controls the congressional seat. Tells me that if you're going to compete for the assembly seat, you might as well compete for the congressional seat as well. Because any voter you turn out in that assembly seat and vote for the Republican for assembly should be easy to convince to vote for the Republican for Congress as well. Okay, so that's our methodology. Pretty simple, right? I'm appalled that Republican political consultants that are paid a lot of money, that's right, wasted, can't get this through their thick skulls. So we have a list of seats, and it's on the website reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. We have 26 seats that we want to target that we think are flippable in the 2026 election. And if we target these seats and are successful, not only will we keep the House majority in Republican hands, because California is basically the most competitive state for U.S. congressional seats, but we will also break the supermajority in one or both of the chambers in the state legislature in just 2026. We're talking about literally in the next 18 months, the work can be done, and we could dramatically change the direction of our state. Check out the full list on our website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Take a look at the seat number. I give you the county that it's in, and then look up to see if you're in that seat. Because I want to hear from you. If you want to run for office, we need good candidates. But also, I need you to sign up to be a volunteer so that when we do get a candidate that we can recruit, train, endorse, and support, that we can help you support that candidate in the 2026 election. So we have 9 congressional seats that we are targeting. 3 in the Central Valley, 2 in Riverside, 2 in Los Angeles, and 1 in Orange County, 1.5 in Orange County. So each of these are winnable seats. Some of them are pickup seats. Some of them are defense seats. So we could actually pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 congressional seats in California. I actually think there are more that we can pick up. We actually have 2 additional pickup seats and 2 defense seats, what I call on the watch. So each of these districts have on the watch and target seats on our list. Now let's go on to the state Senate seats. We have 4 target seats that we want to go after. Remember, we have to win 4 target seats, but several of these seats are defense seats, District 36 and 40. And notice they're in the same areas as the congressional seats. So it's part of my buy 1, get 3 free sort of approach to targeting. 4 state Senate seats, but there are also pickup seats on the watch list and defense seats on our watch list. And then finally, the assembly seats. We've got 13 target seats. And look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the seats that we need, 6 of the 7 seats we need to end the supermajority are already on our target list. And I believe that the on the watch will likely produce a couple seats that we can win in 2026. And so we've got 8 seats total that are on the watch. We've got 6 that are pickup seats that are on the target list, and of course 7 seats that we're defending. It's always important to defend seats so that you don't lose them. And then, of course, try to flip seats that Democrats currently hold. So 6 plus 8 is 14. 7 more seats than we need to end the supermajority. Again, we're not going to win all of them. But starting out with a hunting list of seats to go after, that is part of our strategic plan. Now, what else do we need? Well, Reform California has not only a list of seats to target that can end the supermajority and keep the House majority in Republican hands, but we also have a comprehensive plan to win the seats. It's a 5-point plan. Number 1, we have to have an agenda. And so what is Reform California doing? We're giving candidates a comprehensive, popular agenda they can all run on. A 10-point contract to Reform California. You can check out that contract on our website, reformcalifornia.org. Second, we are recruiting and training candidates. It's so important that we proactively go out and find the best candidate rather than hope that someone files for the seat. Don't hope. Go out and find the most talented, most hardworking candidate, and then train them. Give them the tools that they need to win. Third, we need to help educate voters in these districts. And we do that through news programs like this, but also a whole variety of other voter contact programs. So it's issue advocacy in those districts to soften up voters, to show how the Democrats have failed. Fourth, we need to turn out our voters by harvesting ballots while also investing in election integrity programs in every one of these districts, keeping an eye on what the Democrats are doing. Turning out the vote is part of that discussion I had earlier of if we turn out 90% or 85% of the voters who voted for Trump in the 2024 election, if they all show up in 2026, we win a lot of these seats just based on turnout of our base alone. We don't even have to change anyone's mind, although we want to change voters' minds. But we want to make sure that we turn out the people who voted in 24 again in 26 with enthusiasm. So voting, ballot harvesting, and turning out the vote. And finally, the fifth is raise the resources to do the first four. Now, raising resources means financial contributions, but also means volunteers. And again, I'm going to ask you, be part of this plan. Go to our website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution, give us the financial resources, but also sign up as a volunteer on that website. We cannot execute this plan without your help. That's the 5-point plan. The reform agenda, recruiting candidates in each of these seats, educating voters on the failure of the Democrat supermajority, harvesting and turning out our vote, particularly the votes that turned out in 2024, just getting them to show up. And fifth, raising the resources to do the first four parts of our plan. That's the plan to end the supermajority of the Democrats in California. Are you game? You want to join? Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, and join the fight. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, State Representative and Chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.